Hello everyone, I'm excited to share one of my favorite poses today, headstand. So if you are brand new to headstand, I'm going to start with a few warm-ups to lead into actually going upside down. So if you are at home or wherever you are and you're brand new to coming into this shape, I recommend you pull your mat up against a wall to have that little extra support behind you. But ideally, you're going to build enough core strength and strength foundationally coming into this pose that you won't necessarily have to rely on a wall to support you. So with that being said, we want to have only about 10 to 20% pressure in the head itself. So as we move through these warm-ups, I want you to really be conscious of how much weight is actually going into your head, because we shouldn't feel any pinching or pain in the neck. If you are experiencing pain in the neck or the head, or if you're feeling lightheaded, it's just a signal to back off, coming to child's pose, take a break, and perhaps start just by working on these foundational movements. So it can take some time to strengthen your body in order to progress into the full headstand. So if you're not quite there yet, that's okay, just stick with it. So we're gonna start in a tabletop position. And the way that we find out where the elbows should be on the floor is by taking the fingertips and bringing them to either elbow. So ideally your elbows are going to be right underneath your shoulders in a stack. So if you find that your fingertips aren't reaching your elbows, the elbows are going to be too wide. So fingers to elbows. And then I'm going to interlace my fingers, and my hands are going to create like a cradle for the back of my head. So it's going to be the top third of your head that's balancing on the floor. So you're going to find that comfortable spot for you. For me, it sits a little bit forward from the very center of my head. If you balance a little too far back on your skull, the likelihood of you wanting to roll over and fall the opposite direction is going to be a little bit higher. All right, so planting my elbows under my shoulders, finding the tip top of my head, tucking the toes under. So right away I'm going to feel the strength coming into my forearms, my elbows. I'm engaging my body the way I would in a low plank. So we'll come into a low plank to start, just firing up the core. And one other thing before I start is I recommend coming into this pose after you've done a full practice. So when your body is feeling warm, when you've done core work, when you've done some strengthening through your legs. For me, I do it after I complete a full asana practice, and I feel that my body's warm, and I spend 5 to 10 minutes in headstand. So coming back into that low plank, again, just checking out your elbows. Tucking the toes under. So the first exercise we'll do, starting from a low plank, we'll just tippy toe the toes forward and back. Again, placing a lot of weight into my forearms. And then coming back up, taking a breath, just letting the blood flow drain back down from the head for a few breaths in between each warm-up here. The second exercise, warming into headstand, we'll come back onto the forearms. Again, lifting the hips up, tucking the toes. And this time, I'm going to walk my toes as close as I can to my body And I'm just going to lift one heel toward my sits bone, my right heel, and give my opposite foot a hop, lowering that foot down, lifting my left heel, little hop. So you can do that a few times on either side. Again, we're thinking about pushing the forearms into the floor. And then you can come down to your knees. Take a breath. If you feel like you need a little break for your neck and you want to come into a child's pose for a few breaths, it's good to take those little breaks in between these warm-ups. So if that felt like it was doable for you, or you're feeling strong in that, we can progress to the next stage. So the next step here is to make our way into what we call a teddy bear stand. So again, I'm going to make sure those elbows under my shoulders, tippy toe, close as I can towards my elbows. So my hips are stacking over top of my shoulders. And then I'm going to bring both knees towards my body, keeping my navel plugged in. Focus your eyes on a single point. So focusing the gaze. And then coming back in, one knee at a time, nice and slow. Again, coming back up to seat and taking a breath. Just letting that blood flow, drain back out of the head, down to the legs. So checking in here, if you feel dizzy or lightheaded at all, you might want to pause and continue to build into it with the warm-ups. So there is one more way, another way that I'll show you today to come into the headstand, and this is what we call leg lift. So lifting one leg at a time and using one leg as like a counter lever, counterbalance. So coming down to the elbows, and if you're doing this and you can feel your toe touch a wall behind you, that's perfectly fine as well. So if you're doing this at home, you can use your elevated leg to touch the wall. So again, I'm lifting my hips, walking my toes close as I can. Then I'm going to lift my right leg up. Same thing, I can give it a little hop. Little hop. Again, my weight is in my forearms and not as much in my head. Good, so my core is on fire. My legs are engaged and I'm lifting up through the balls of my feet. And then coming down from here, one leg at a time, I'm using that elevated leg to keep me balanced as I lower. Coming back to seat, taking a breath. Again, child's pose is there for you if you need it. And then I'll show you a little example of what you can progress into once you're feeling stable and strong in your neutral headstand. You can play with making different shapes or poses with your legs up in the sky. So some people come into lotus, like folding their legs in, and that one's very challenging. A couple other options are to place the soles of the feet together and part the knees wide upside down, or take eagle legs. Again, these are a little more advanced options. So I'll just give you a little example of what that might look like. right, so just taking your time as you play with being upside down, and have fun. Use a wall if you need it, or use a friend, a yoga buddy, if you need someone to spot you, just to create safety. So look forward to seeing you again on the mat or in the studio. Namaste.